The Vergas Show is brought to you by Spanky's Stone Hearth, casual fine dining on the shores of beautiful Rose Lake.
With 2 locations in Vergas and Perham, make the right call. Call Hanson's, the most trusted name in plumbing and heating.
Vergas State Bank, your locally owned full-service bank.
Welcome to the Vergas Show. I'm Sherry Hanson. Thanks for joining me. Back for the second series with Tom Franklin. Thanks, Tom, for joining me. We're doing a veteran series, and I hope that you've had a chance to watch some of these in the last few weeks, and I hope you had a chance to also celebrate all of our veterans on Veterans Day on the 11th. I just love that our government still makes sure that Veterans Day is something. So often if you forget to commemorate a day, then everything else about it gets forgotten too. So,
Sherry, here in Vergas, we have Veterans Day, and we have a ceremony at Frazee at our
You're
local
part of
VFW.
Right.
But here in Vergas, on Memorial Day, our guys will still march down Main Street.
I love it.
We have a marching band. The flags are up, and then we go out to the Vergas Cemetery.
Yeah.
And it's a small little town.
It is,
that
but
recognizes veterans, just recognizes our service to our country.
Well,
it is nice.
That's it's big because
nice.
and I'm just really glad that our community does still do that. Tom, we were talking last week about the fact that just give us a little recap in case somebody didn't catch it last year. How you entered the National Guard.
Well, I was 19. I joined the Minnesota National Guard, and I was in for 20 years. And during that time, I got sent to the Gulf War and then to Iraq. And then in between there, I was on 7 or 11 overseas deployments for training and 7 state activations.
Okay.
But some of the things I brought with this
week. You're holding something here for
this is pretty,
this is pretty cool.
This is sand. My sister was on a trip, and she went to Normandy, and she brought me back some sand from Normandy. So in this little vial, she took it out of her a film case back then. Now we all have cell phones. But that's some sand from Normandy. When you're talking about the World War II vets, so I keep that. That's one of my keepsakes.
Well, she knew that you being in service, that would just.
This is pretty cool, and it really is.
That's very
cool. If you
cool.
think about the sacrifices our soldiers made,
I know, and that sand, it's hard. It's humbling.
It's humbling. So here's some other things I have. I have some dog tags.
Here, I can hold your sand.
You can hold my sand here. Here's some dog tags that I have. So you wear these every day. But also, since I was with an engineering unit, I had cat keys because I was a heavy equipment operator. I kept a cat key. This is a key to start a cat, and this is to start it.
And so then you would have that with your dog tags, and then when you were deployed and everything, you would have them on all the time.
Yeah, it's one of your. You have to have it on. If I'm a sergeant, I'm checking to make sure you have your whatever you have. You got your dog tags on.
Okay.
You want to hold that?
Sure.
Here's some other items that I've got. This is some coins that they'll give you a coin occasionally. Ooh, I got to hold these
you
up.
call them coins, but they're. It's not like you would imagine a penny or a nickel or something, but they're like a commemorative coin.
A commemorative coin. So a sergeant major or a commander, somebody would give you this, good luck or job well done. So
Sure.
I've collected a few of these over the years, and here's just some. This is an engineering coin, and this is another coin that another company commander might have given me at one time.
So is it kind of like an incentive thing?
It can be, but if your troops or your soldiers are doing good on a special project, they'll give that. They said, "Wow, you guys have really did a good job. Thank you for this." So it's
any of these coins? Do you remember the project you were doing?
One I was putting in a water system in Balad Air Base. I was running water to a dining facility. It was about July 2003, and it was one of the first things to get this air base running, so we have food for our soldiers.
Sure.
And a general was there, and he actually ran out of coins. And it was neat that he said, "Sergeant Franklin, you and your crew or your squad here is doing such a good job that they wanted to make sure that I got a coin." So he actually wrote a letter to me, stuck a coin in it, sent it to me.
I bet you still have the letter.
I still got it, and I've received some awards and this and that and this and that. But when somebody went out of your way to send me this, I thought that was pretty neat. So I put the letter in a frame and I put the coin right in there.
Yeah.
And I've kept that. I don't know where it right is today. It's it's probably on my Love Me wall with all my awards and stuff over the years.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, this is kind of interesting. When I got sent to the first Gulf War, they didn't have the American flag on our uniform. So when we got
What year was that?
It would be 91.
Really?
Because in peacetime, you just wore a camouflage uniform. And then it was, we called it chocolate chip desert. Now it's digital. but back then it was chocolate chip. If you saw the first Desert Camel.
Yeah, I think
So
I know
here,
what
to
you
make
mean.
us that we're friendly forces, they would sew these on our uniforms. So they knew that we were U.S. soldiers and we were going to liberate Kuwait is what we were going to do.
Sure.
And now it's a standard on your uniform all the time. So that's kind
And
of...
so you were part of that, that era that started that. Yeah.
Yeah. In World War II, I think they also sewed on an American flag on our U.S. soldiers. So they knew that we were a U.S. fighting force.
Sure.
Depends on whose side you're on, but we're the good guys. So...
One of the interesting things in the picture that we'll put up here now is, tell me about the minesweeper.
Oh, that was in Iraq. When we got to Iraq, so we had many dozers, but they took one of our dozers and they up-armored it. They put a big minesweeper on the front and they plated it. So if we hit a mine, the guy inside driving is not going to die. But we'd work and they'd say, hey, is there any mines? We're going to build a road or we're going to do something. Is there any landmines? So we'd have to go out and sweep for mines. And you think you could find someone to drive that? We had privates, or anybody. I mean, we had a couple of guys, I'll get on that. Now, Sherry, we got to go check for mines, Sherry. You want to get on that dozer today and just go
Not
check?
this girl.
No, come on. Are you sure? It's very heavy and it would get stuck. So
Sure.
at first we thought it was a lot of fun, hard to load, hard to move, and then it would get stuck. So, but yeah, that was kind of interesting. Some of the equipment that we deal with, right?
Yeah,
Some of the
right.
equipment that we deal with.
And you talked about bobcats, how just something so simple.
When we got deployed, we went to Fort Carson, Colorado, and that we just got these brand new Bobcats from Gwinner, North Dakota, green Army Bobcats, and we used them every day, from loading our equipment, loading pallets, loading even a rail load. When we load our heavy equipment on a train, you take this little bridge that goes from car to car to car to rail car, and then once the equipment drives from the one rail car to the next, you have to take this bridge and move it ahead. So these Bobcats we use them all the time. Overseas we use them to unload our connexes. It was just a neat thing.
Just something so simple,
Right here.
thinking
So
of a
right here in this-
bobcat.
right
Every
here.
unit should, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just a
Right.
neat thing.
Tom, when we were talking earlier too, I think one of the things that really stood out for me is the fact that how you recognize that every single person who gives their time in any unit, no matter what they're doing.
Right, I had uncles and stuff. My grandma kind of related to this a little bit. We had 5 uncles that served in World War II, and one was a school teacher, Sam Gallen from Dent, but he was a school teacher, and he said, I what can I do? I can't. The Army's going to draft me. I'm a school teacher. And they made him a cook, and he'd cook well for the soldiers. He did a great job. My grandpa, he was in the Air Corps. But what I was getting at is, no matter where you serve, or how about a nurse, an Army nurse?
Army nurse.
Let's-
Your brother was in?
My brother he was in the National Guard also, yep. And they were on state activation.
Okay.
He went to Ada.
But no matter how you serve,
I'm just proud. I'm just thankful that people do serve.
Right.
If you're, whichever branch of service you're in, if you were called to active duty or not, served honorably, I just want to thank you. Thank you for defending our freedom. Thank you.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything I can do to say that any better. So thank you, Tom, for
Yeah,
being
you're
on our
welcome.
show.
You bet.
And you have a good day in Vergas.